Welcome to Dr. Charles Speaks, a podcast for now. You've joined us for a special series of transformational talks, selected exclusively from Dr. Charles's corporate success calls. The 15-minute calls are designed to encourage leaders, activate your thought life, and prepare you for the challenges ahead. Dr. Charles joins every call with a blend of his personal experiences, his expertise as a John Maxwell certified mentor and coach, and of course, his more than 30 years of exceptional experience in both corporate America and ministry. Get motivated with Dr. Charles Speaks, a transformational talk from the Red Line on today's podcast, inspiring excellence and generating results.
Good day, my friends. This is Dr. Charles. You're on the Red Line, and this is a great day because you're listening to me, and I think I have something of value that I would like to share with you that would make all the difference, perhaps in your life and in the people that you are surrounded by. Today's call, this 15-minute call, it is designed to start your week off on a positive note, and that is to inspire you and continue to challenge yourself along the personal leadership growth. Today, I want to talk about setting goals for your life and for your growth. Goals for growth. Think about that for a minute. Someone said this: we are one, our cause is one, and we must help each other. And if we are to succeed, then we want to continue to grow and get better. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide that you're not going to stay where you are. Business is like riding a bicycle. Keep moving or you will fall. Today, I want to talk about keep moving as it relates to setting goals for growth. I've been encouraging and pushing along the growth area of continuous learning and continuous growing just about in every single one of my podcasts, because I believe that we must continue to strive for excellence, continue to grow, to make ourselves better, to not just keep it all for ourselves, but to actually help someone else along the way. As someone said, I don't want my living to be in vain. And so it's all about growing ourselves and making others around us better. You know, Ken Blanchard, he wrote the book, The 1 Minute Manager. I'm sure you've heard of The 1 Minute Manager. He goes on and says this. He says, there's a difference between interest and commitment. Those two words, having an interest in something and being committed. And this is very important as you realize, as you make steps in your own personal journey, in your own personal growth. When you're interested in doing something, he goes on and says, you just do it only when it's convenient. Now think about that. You have an interest, but you only do something when it's convenient. You'll get around to it. You know, I talk to some of the people I work with, and as I train them and onboard them, sometimes I talk about, look, let's focus on what you have to know, need to know, and nice to know. And so when you think about just merely having an interest, it would be something along the lines of nice to know. But the contrast between having an interest and being committed, Ken Blanchard, he goes on and says, when you are committed there in doing something, you accept no excuses. And that's what I want to talk about. Commitment is the one quality above all others that enables a potential leader like yourself to become even more successful, because it's something about commitment. When you are committed to something, you accept no excuses. You continue along the pathway until you have achieved your objective. For without commitment, my friends, there can be no success. I'm reminded of former football coach Lou Holtz. He recognized the difference between being merely involved and being truly committed. He pointed out the illustration of a kamikaze pilot that was able to fly 50 missions. He was involved, but he never was committed, because you know the act of a kamikaze pilot, their job is to sacrifice their own life and commit suicide by crashing in their plane into an aircraft carrier and destroying it. For someone to have flown 50 missions, then you can see there may have been an interest, but there certainly wasn't an involvement nor a commitment to carry out the job. And that's what I'm here today to talk to you about, setting goals for personal growth. And the question stands, are you just merely interested or are you committed? Do you have an interest or are you committed to continuously grow and become better than you ever thought you could be? If you won't commit, my friends, then don't go any further with me today, because I'm looking for commitment. And commitment means that you will make no excuses. You will accept no excuses whatsoever. You'll continue along the journey of life with a committed attitude versus just merely having an interest. So, do you have an interest or are you committed? That's the question. Number one, in order to grow, my friends, and in order to expand your brand, you will need to set clear objectives. You need clear objectives. You need clear goals if you're going to achieve anything of value. It's something about clarity. We call it sometimes having an elevator speech. If you just only had 1.5 minutes to explain and to talk about your brand and what you're all about and what your objective is, then you will be on the right place and the right time to be able to articulate it and be able to put it on paper. And that way it becomes clear to you and clear to others. You remember SMART goals, SMART, goals that are specific, actionable, measurable, realistic, and time-bound. That's what we mean by having clear objectives and clear goals. Make them SMART goals. Make them such that they are very specific and there's something actionable that you can do and you can measure from point A to point B, and it makes sure that it's realistic and that it's within a time bound to be completed. Because this, you've got to know, goals, what they serve as a roadmap. And a roadmap, it is the goal that shapes the plan, someone said. It is the plan that sets the action. It is the action that achieves the result. And it is the result that brings the success. And guess what? It all begins with the simple word goal, because the goal, it shapes the plan. And it's the plan that sets the action, and the action that achieves the results. And it is the results that brings the success. It was worth saying that twice because I really want you to get it because it's so important. You remember the actress Lily Tomlin? She once said, I always wanted to be somebody, but I should have been more specific. And that's, a lot of us can say that when we use general terms and what is it that you want to do and how you want to go about doing things. But when you are clear and you are specific with your goals and your vision and your objectives, you won't have any regrets down the road. Many people today, what happens is that they find themselves in the same situation as Lily Tomlin, regretting. They have a vague ideal of what success is, and they know that they want to achieve success, but they haven't worked out any kind of plan to get there. And that's all I'm asking you to do today is think about a plan and think about the actions and think about the end goal and make your way towards that direction and be patient and continue to be diligent and continue to be laser focused. You know, my mentor, John Maxwell, he said it this way, that the greatest achievers in life are people who set goals, not only goals for the company, but goals for themselves. And as a result of them setting goals, he goes on and says that they work hard to achieve them, to reach them. And that is so important because once you set sights on the goal that you have set, and it is a SMART goal, then you will work it out each and every day with more than an interest, but with a committed attitude that you are willing and able to go forth with confidence and knowing and trusting and believing you will get to where you're trying to go. So what have we talked about? Number one, we said in order to grow, you're going to have to expand your brand. You're going to need to set clear objectives. That's number one, we said. Number two, you're going to have to use SMART goals. We've identified what SMART means. And number three, we established that goals become what? The roadmap. And as a roadmap, it sets things in actions to reach the destiny that you're headed. Number 4, I want to give you, with the time that we have left, some tips for setting goals for your own personal growth, because this will get you started. We want to get this engine started, and we want to get it going down the highway of life, and we want you to enjoy the ride. And so, number 1, when it comes to tips and setting goals, I've said 1, identify goals that will contribute to the larger goal. Now, what do I mean by that? We want to make sure that you set goals that are attainable. You should start off with goals with low fences to climb and then work your way to a higher level. Because why do we do that? Because we don't want to get out of the gates discouraged already, not even made it a block down the road, and all of a sudden our mind is telling us to give up. But when you set your sights low in the beginning and you cross over that hurdle, you gain confidence, you gain the strength and the motivation and the passion to continue to go. I've used the analogy before talking about getting myself in shape and going into the gym and working out, and I could remember barely able to lift certain weights, and they were just too heavy for me. But as I started off with the lesser weights and began to practice and to work out, and then I found myself graduating to a higher level of weights, and I was able to carry on more and more. So the more you work at it, the more you are able to set one goal after another to reach the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal is to be physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit. All 3 of those, the trifecta. That is my goal and expectation. But I couldn't become Mr. America in terms of a bodybuilder or so forth, or someone that looks really great in the mirror overnight. It takes time. And time it takes. And someone said that when you get to that point of exercising, don't look at it from the short run, but look at it from the long term. That means that it becomes a life living daily, weekly way of going forward. Because those I hear sometimes, I just want to get in shape because I'm getting ready to get married in 6 months and I want to look really good. Well, that's great for a short goal. But then after that, what next? You're just going to turn right back into a couch potato, or you're going to continue the way of life going forward. And that is what I want you to do, is to keep it moving forward. Number 2 tip, we got to make goals measurable, because here's the fact. When goals are measurable and obtained, there's a sense of accomplishment. You know, you can stick your chest out a little bit and think about it. Hey, I made it. I didn't think I would get this far. And of course, it helps to have people along the way to encourage you, people that will serve as an accountability partner. And so that is so important. Another tip, as I said, put the goals in writing. It's something about putting it down on paper, something tangible, something that you can see and feel and be able to be reminded of the goal that you set, because the studies have proven that when people write down their goals more than people who don't write down their goals, you know what happens. Those people who write them down and keep them before them, they're going to more than likely succeed in accomplishing their goals versus the ones who just set a goal and didn't keep it before them, because something will come along to distract them. But when you're focused, you're able to make a difference. I'll ask the question again as we close. Are you merely just interested in your personal growth, or are you truly committed? I want to thank you today for joining me on the Red Line. This is Dr. Charles. And now let's make it a great day and a great week. Thank you again. Until next time, God bless. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Dr. Charles Speaks. Visit drcharlesred.com for booking info for your ministry, business, or leadership team. Get info about the Red Line, a 15-minute corporate success call each Monday morning with Dr. Charles. Follow Dr. Charles on all social media at Dr. Charles Red. Subscribe to the podcast here for every episode of Dr. Charles Speaks. Thanks for joining us. Like Dr. Charles always says, no matter what, never, never, never give up. Until next time.